Hey, how's it going, everybody? Welcome to Chicago. There's the Hazel Johnson mural. There's Mr. Super A back at the Prudential. Hopefully we got a live stream going. We'll see. I was doing some testing up in the office there because it was we had trouble. Chris, how you doing there? Hopefully it's working there. I saw you were able to tune in the last time there. That's good. It's good that we're seeing people in the numbers here. There we go, Krista. Yeah, we got a stream there, so good. So we'll cross the street here. Here's the 2 Prudential. Yeah, it's much cooler today. We got about 80 degrees. And here's Nutella's, people sitting outside. Remember, it was so oppressively hot earlier in the week that no one was sitting outside, but now how you doing there? People have, that looks good. That's people having a nice Nutella here. There's NASCAR. Yeah, that's what I'm thinking about doing, because it's a little overcast and it's not so hot today. Figure today might be a good time. I know we did it Friday, last Friday. We checked out the progress of the NASCAR street race grandstands being set up. Well, I don't know if we can still access Buckingham Fountain or not. We'll walk by the Bean, Millennium Park, and we'll head into Grant Park and see the status of the race construction there. See all the advertisements, everything's leading up to July 5th or 6th there. But hey, Chris, Krista, Michael, Taco, Jalapeno Salsa, Tony, thanks for tuning in there. Diane, Nisi G, good morning. Yeah, how's everybody doing? Azante, yeah, a lot of you guys were, yeah, we're back. Thanks for helping me out there, Diane. And let's see, who else is tuning in? Michael, Juan Pablo, how you doing there? Uruguay, that is awesome. Thanks for tuning in there. Welcome to Chicago. Yeah, Christy M. Good, so I think I'm caught up with the comments. Yeah, let's get across the street here. I don't like to run, but the only reason I run is to get across. This is such a long light right here at Randolph in Michigan. There, look at that nice street wall there. There's always somebody turning, breathing down your neck. Yeah, that's okay. I'm the same way. It's annoying waiting for pedestrians crossing the street or bike riders. But hey, we're in the park here. Grant Park, Millennium Park's part of Grant Park, Chicago, Illinois. We got about 80 degrees. We had some rain overnight, but it's all dried up now. Yeah, it's a beautiful day. Christy, how you doing there? Krista and Christy.
So anyway, I'm like, you guys gotta come back to me.
Honking the horns. There it is, the street race. Oh, they cracked the window. But, you know, this is usual stuff. I know you've seen the meet a million times, but it'd be good to see it again. I'm just so happy I'm able to use Streamlabs. You know, the YouTube app is a good fallback. You know, I was able to use it, and we still got to stream. You notice how it always would snap around, and it's hard to zoom. It's harder to zoom in with the YouTube app. And Streamlabs makes it more smooth. Here's the fountain. There's the Aeon Prudential 1. People taking photos here. Here's the Bigfoot. You get on the little electric cart there, maintenance. See, they're installing barricades. Gloria, how you doing there? Chilly and rainy in Wisconsin. Yeah, chilly in June. We wouldn't think we'd be saying chilly after. I'm sure you had a heat wave there over the weekend like we did. Now it's in New York City. They got 100-degree temperatures. Hey, how about that New York City mayoral primary? Isn't that amazing? Cuomo came in second. Everybody was wondering if his name recognition, and of course we know about his past there. But yeah, lead story of the New York Times. Zoran Mamdani, M-A-M-D-A-N-I. He's a democratic socialist like AOC. Well, he's his own brand. He's not really the same as Bernie Sanders, but he leans that way, the democratic socialist wing of the left there. That's very interesting development for the New York mayoral race. Is anybody following that? But that's what happens in New York doesn't really pretend for national politics, because what works for New York might not work for the rest of the nation. The same for Chicago. We have different politics in big cities than the rest of the country, and that's why the rest of the country doesn't understand our politics, and I don't even understand it, and I live here. But here's okay. That's good. That's good. That's good. Hey, the kids are running up to check out the bean here. That's where we're going to. It's great. And 96 in Kentucky. Yeah, we're still in the heater there. Kentucky, that's pretty hot. That's oppressive heat there. Christy, thanks for tuning in from Kentucky. That's awesome. But here, welcome to Chicago. We're thankfully a little cooler. It feels pretty pleasant. I did take my button-down office shirt off and left it hanging at my desk. I'm just walking in a t-shirt because I know I'd break a sweat if I had my long sleeve button-down shirt on walking around here. It feels like summer. I wouldn't call it chilly. It's shorts weather. But here's the Great Bean of Chicago. We see it once again there. I posted a rerun from a year ago when we saw lightning. I was filming during a rainstorm. I actually got wet, and I wouldn't recommend being out here in a lightning storm. You get struck by lightning, but you know me, I'm willing to take the risk. Sometimes that's where you get your best footage. But there's the old Montgomery Ward's Pittsfield building. There's Cloud Gate, the Great Bean of Chicago. Let's see what's happening here. Yeah. It's called Cloud Gate. We call it the Bean. It's a sculpture. It's called Millennium Park. And they added this about 2006. Anish Kapoor is the artist from London, England. And they won a competition. They have several public works of art here in Millennium Park. This is probably the most well-known internationally. We call it the Bean, Cloud Gate. It's a sculpture. It's stainless steel. It's supposed to represent liquid mercury. And you can walk underneath it. It's pretty crowded here, so we got some ground to cover. So we'll keep on. I got reruns. If you follow me both on YouTube or TikTok, Brian Really Chicago, we got several reruns. Hey, the nice group photo here. Look at this. Yeah, see, you get your group photo here in front of the Bean. Very nice. Yeah. Sorry.
She cool though. White socks, check it out, man.
Hey, how you doing? Appreciate it. That's good. That's good. Yeah. Okay, the bluish building, that's a residential building. I don't know the top of the name of it. It's really tall. It looks taller than the Sears Tower, even though it's not, because we're closer to it. It's some residential condo high-rise, this blue building. It's on Wabash in Chicago. I know this one. This is the old Montgomery Wards. It's now residential. It used to have a little tower. That's the Pittsfield building. Part of it's residential. They're turning the town residential. This is called the Willoughby Tower. I know the historic ones. I don't know all the new ones because I can't keep it all in my head. But hey, we checked out the Bean there. It's nice when they put the corporate names on the top, the Prudential, so I know that's the Prudential one. But we're gonna head over into Grant Park. They're setting up for NASCAR, which happens after 4th of July here in Chicago, July 5th and 6th. I'll cover that. I just have a standing room only. I don't have a seat, but they got concerts. They had motocross last year where they ramped the motorcycles and did flips and stuff. It's like the WWE comes to Chicago. It's great. But they got, so look, the symphony. Let's check out the symphony. We'll walk through here. The symphony is practicing. This is called the Pritzker Band Show. It's Frank Gehry, world-renowned architect. You know the Balbo Museum there in Spain, or the Disney Museum in Los Angeles. His signature style here, this chrome titanium. And we'll walk across the BP Bridge here. I just want to, yeah, they practice, the symphony practices. So if you're here at lunchtime in the weekdays, sometimes you catch a free concert, then practicing, and then on weekends they actually have the Grant Park Music Series there, the symphonies in the park. And yeah, they're taking photos there. Very nice. So I'm just gonna walk across here, and we'll head across this bridge because I want to get over towards the Buckingham Fountain if we got time. It's gonna be a lot of ground to cover. But hey, we'll check out I don't know if this is the Chicago Symphony. It's probably a smaller ensemble for this Grant Park Music Festival. Last year we saw them, they did Star Wars, all the orchestral music from the Star Wars movies. Sometimes they got choral singers and opera. See, Grant Park Music Fest. So they're getting ready for a concert here. practicing tuning their instruments there. Look at that. They're all in shorts. Hey, Walter, how you doing there? Remix 40, Chris. Oh, the Pittsfield owner was on WGN. That's the guy that bought the Pittsfield building. Seems like a great guy. He's good with social media. He's good at promotion there. So I hope he turns the whole thing into residential. I think that's what he does. And that's the best thing. It's going to preserve and save that building. Of course, we talk about the Pittsfield Cafe. We got reruns of that. I'll keep you updated with progress if we see changes to that building. What was he saying, Chris? What was he saying on WGN? That's good. We'll talk about it later. Maybe I missed something Walter said there. Let's see. Happy Wednesday. 57 degrees in Washington State. Oh, Walter, you were asking about the bluish building. Okay, good. It's on Wabash. Yeah, this big. See, so there's the Sears Tower behind it. See how it looks like the blue building looks like it's taller than the Sears Tower? It's not, just because we're much closer to that blue building than the Sears Tower. We're about a quarter of a mile east of the Sears Tower, which is on the other side of the loop. But hey, there's the Brisker Band Shell. See, back to the Bean. We went by the Bean. Millennium Park is when they dedicated it, July 16, 2004. We celebrated the 20th anniversary. That's why they cleaned up the Bean there and had it under construction. Yeah, Pittsfield. That's good. Kings of Picks. How you doing there? Thanks for tuning in there. Look at this beautiful view. You get this loop skyline behind that trellis that holds the speakers for the band shell there. Isn't this great? We got this great public outdoor space. We use it for movies in the park. We use it for concerts, all kinds of things. Good afternoon, Dolores. How you doing there? Thanks everybody for tuning in YouTube. I'm happy. Got my Streamlabs going. I had a rough time. Chris Schultz kept trying to tune in there. I couldn't get a stream going, and then magically it started working. I just kept trying it over and over. I don't know. I didn't change any settings or anything. It just started working again. And it didn't work yesterday, so they're probably trying to get me to pay for a subscription. If I pay for a subscription to Streamlabs, I can stream to TikTok and YouTube at the same time. I don't know if I want to do that. I know it probably would help out my numbers, but that would be so much harder for the mods to deal with it, because we'd have to have somebody in YouTube moderating. I don't think you could do all the moderating from, or you have to have somebody moderating in TikTok at the same time as moderating YouTube, and who wants to do that? We'll be at one place at one time. It's chaotic enough as it is here. But there's the Lurie Gardens. We'll head across this BP bridge here. Thanks for tuning in. Welcome to Chicago. We're in Millennium Park here, part of Grant Park. I want to check out the progress of the grandstands for the NASCAR street races they're setting up for here later, or beginning of July, Chicago, Illinois. Hey, there's the Aon Prudential too. Yeah, we'll get some nice views looking back. And the symphony's practicing. Good afternoon, One Rare Gemstone. How you doing there? Henry Broussard. Yeah, it looks good. We're doing good, Henry. Hope you're doing good here. It's not as oppressively hot today. Feels like a normal summer day here, 80 degrees. I am walking in short sleeves though, that helps out. See if there's a cool breeze off the lake. The lake's causing this cloud. There's a cloud by all the Streeterville high-rises along the lake because the lake's producing fog today. We had some rain overnight. Yeah, Michael Anderson there. Dolores. Yeah. Are you singing a song there, Henry? That's nice. So, let's see what else is going on. Yeah, here's the BP Bridge head over Columbus Drive here. I hear the symphony. There's Columbus looking down to the Roosevelt South Loop skyline. Chicago, Illinois, we got 80 degrees. We got 12:11. I do like Streamlabs because I can see the time. Do you have the time? Blue Cross Blue Shield. See how there's parking underneath here. So my relatives that are coming to Chicago, they updated me. It looks like they're not going to get here until tomorrow in the AM, which makes sense because they got a hotel out there in Iowa where the Field of Dreams field is. You know how the Field of Dreams about the Chicago Black Sox, they made that movie in the 1980s with Kevin Costner and He just passed away, the guy that was the voice of Darth Vader. I can't think of his name. But, yeah, one of my cousins, my cousin's first cousin's son, he's going to play in a baseball for his high school team, I guess, or his middle school team. They're going to stay in a hotel. They're going to get there to check in tomorrow afternoon, so they didn't want to get another hotel. They probably saw hotel prices. They could crash with me, but there's going to be a whole bunch of them, and I don't know if I can fit everybody. But they were going to come into Chicago tonight, maybe I should reach out with them. Maybe I'd say they can crash on my floor if they're worried about a place to stay. But they're going to get on the road early tomorrow morning, and they're going to. They probably know how small my apartment is. We'll all be sleeping on top of each other. one bathroom for 5 people. That's pretty hard there in the morning. But Lambie T, how you doing there? James Earl Jones, yeah, James Earl Jones. So James Earl Jones was in Field of Dreams there with Kevin Costner. I can't think of his wife's name in that movie, but yeah, they're actually, there's a ball field there, and they have games there sometimes. I think they even had like exhibition games for Major League Baseball there and stuff. But the little league teams, they get to play there. What a great experience. So I'll find more out about it tomorrow. So probably this time tomorrow, if they're still in town, if we do a live stream, you might see my relatives. I don't know if we're going to go to an observation deck. They want to see the Bean, and they want to see Navy Pier. So I don't know what they got time for, and I got to fit it in with work. But I'll be downtown tomorrow anyway. I'll probably just walk in as normal on TikTok. I don't know if I'm going to stick around for the fireworks tonight. Ernie was saying he was going to stream the fireworks. So as long as there's some other Chicago live streamers streaming the fireworks, I'll let them handle it. Fireworks are great, but I like my sleep too. I go to bed early and get up early, so you know how I am. I'm an old guy. But you're old at heart, young at heart though. So hey, you can rent your golf balls here. They got the putt-putt golf over here. This is all part of yeah, look, kids are playing on the Maggie Daley playground here. Remember we were in Houston, we saw that rocket ship with the slides. I thought those slides would get really hot in Houston. You know, they got some, but they have another park here. There's all the kids climbing on the boat here. They got a whale. They got the water feature turned on. I can hear the water in here. So, yeah, if we cruise through here, we can head right over to the lake. And I want to be respectful of families here, and you know, that's why I tell people, you know, we got 65 people tuning in, so I'm not a creepy guy. I'm not here cruising the playground. I'm just using this to walk from one end to the other so we can get over to the Buckingham Fountain and see the NASCAR seating here. But I just want to show, so people know this is here. This is a free park that you can, they got swings, they got splash stuff, they got slides, and they got picnic tables, all kinds of great things here for families to enjoy. And this is part of Maggie Daley Park, part of Grant Park, Millennium Park. We filmed the Crown Fountain, so you can ride on this boat. They got Splash Park here, and they got slides. You can go up this lighthouse and slide down there. See, they just came out of slide. And they got a nice suspension bridge here. And they got the spongy material on the ground there. See, there's kids coming out of slide. They got some maize or something over there. See, picnic tables. You can bring a picnic table. This is called Maggie Daley Park, part of Grant Park in Chicago, Illinois. And it's near Millennium Park. It's kind of where the ice skating ribbon's north of it. See, they got that suspension bridge. You can walk across that. I've actually walked across that. They really don't want large mammals like me walking across it, but I've done it. And they got crazy slides and all kind. Hey, Enchanted Forest there. You can go to the upside down trees with the rocks, all ages. Isn't that nice? Yeah, the kid sounds there. Isn't that great? A park with a playground. Imagine that. See these great amenities we got. Even though we're the big bad city, there's still kids and families that live and have a good time here. Go to school, go to church, go to day camp. But here's Lake Michigan, DuSable Lakeshore Drive. We'll head over to the Buckingham Fountain here. Thanks for tuning in, Chicago. We got 80 degrees. 12:16. Yeah, check it out, Krista. That's awesome. Yeah, next Friday. I think they would love it. And it's free when it's open. You know, it's something to do. You bring a picnic lunch, you buy some lunch, Uber Eats, you just bring it over there. Have a picnic, go to the park. You got nice skyline views. You can check out, where the ice skating ribbon is, you can rent little scooters and you can scoot around it like a racetrack. They got a climbing wall. You can use the climbing wall. They got putt-putt golf. You have to pay for the putt-putt golf, but you know, it's an option. You can come over here, rent a bike, take a bike ride along the lakefront. The museum campus, there's the field museum, all the field museums, the aquarium, the shed aquarium, the observatory, the Adler planetarium. It's all over there. Sometimes they have free days. Check the schedule. And yeah, let's get across Monroe Street here. I want to get across Monroe before the light changes here. Yeah, we got 15 seconds. We're going. We'll get across here before the light changes. Thank you. 8 seconds. Yeah, this is Monroe Street. So already they got construction trailers for the NASCAR. We're going to start seeing some of the NASCAR stuff here. So let's see if we can. They got a lot of things fenced off. So we'll head straight over to the. Is this Butler Field? Yeah, this is Butler Field. So I want to see if I can get on the other side of this. I'm not for sure if I'll be able to. They might not let me walk through here because this is a construction zone. But we'll see if it's open or not. Yeah, they got the fencing. I don't know if they're going to let me walk through here or not. Let's see if there's a gap in the fencing or not. Yeah, they got some construction trailers. This is Monroe at Lakeshore Drive. I see a woman walking there. So maybe we can sneak through here. So I don't want to walk through here. See, I see there's a security guy right there. I wonder if I can walk across here. But here we'll get, the reason I want to go this way, there's nice skyline views. I think I can get through here. So we'll give it a try. Hey, NASCAR, yeah, they're setting up for the NASCAR. They call this Butler Field. And yeah, I see the Buckingham Fountain still on, so hopefully we can get over there. How you doing? Hey, look at the trucks here. Yeah, they're cranes and all kinds of stuff here. So here at Butler Field, we'll head straight across here. See, there's better skyline views heading this way. I'll keep a safe distance. See, this is a whole queuing area from last year. They had, this was actually like a free area. You didn't even need to have a ticket. You could come in. They had some NASCAR vehicles that you could take pictures with, and some. The field's really mushy. We got a lot of rain overnight, so yeah, we'll head right through here. So hey, welcome to Chicago. See, there's the skyline views. That's why I wanted to walk through this way. Otherwise, we would have been on the other side. There's trees, which is nice, but you can't see the skyline as easily. I want to give you something to look at here while we're walking over to the Buckingham Fountain there. Yeah, go Cubs go. They lost to the, they dropped 2 games in a row to St. Louis. That hurts, but they're still in first place by 2 games there, I think, in the Central Division there. Home on the range. Cool wizard there. Hey, Chicago misses you. Yeah. How's everybody doing there? Yeah, double tap. Thanks for tapping the screen there. See, every time I try to scroll up, a new comic comes in there. See, every time I scroll up, a new comic comes in. Yeah, we're not going to get into politics. Whether I like Pritzker or not doesn't matter. You know, everybody has their own political persuasions, leanings. I respect people's opinions that differ from mine, even if I don't agree with them. It's very hard on social media because even if I'm sarcastic or joking, sometimes we misread the comments. It just leads to all kinds of bad situations, and it's such a shame that we live in such a. America's always lived through political divided periods. It's really extreme right now. The city I'm in, you know, people, just because I'm in Chicago, they'll bring up political comments that have nothing to do with what I'm streaming just because they think Chicago and, you know, even where you live is political. You know, if I lived in Utah, people would assume that I lean a certain way, you know. There's the Sears Tower, skyline of Chicago, the Loop. Yeah, I can walk on, I can walk by the lake on my way back. There's a reason I'm going this way. I usually plan out my routes. I know some people want to see the lake, some people want to see this construction. So I can't please everybody. Different people want to see different things. And so I only can be at one place at one time. Thanks for suggesting there. Somebody wants to see the lake. We'll get you some lake views once we get out by this fountain here and all the boats in the harbor there. Yeah, we can head back along the lake. Then we'll have the skyline in our background. And maybe we can head back through Lakeshore East on my way back to work. This is my lunch break. I'm not independently wealthy. I have a day job. I had some meetings this morning. So, but hey, look at that skyline there. Nice views. Butler Field, they're setting it up for the NASCAR here. And that's why we're here. We're showing the status of, look at all these cranes, what a major operation is to set up this street race course. Look at all this heavy equipment. And wait till the haulers get here with the equipment and the NASCAR, the actual vehicles. They unload the vehicles. So here we're crossing Jackson Boulevard here. There's Lake Michigan. There you see the boats. We'll see those if you stick on. On the way back, I'll walk up along the lakefront. That's a good idea. And we can check out the boats there. But hey, look at these booms, cranes. Always got a plan. Yeah, thanks, Michael. Yeah, check me out on TikTok. Got TikTok and YouTube. Thanks for being on, Michael, and everybody else there, Dolores. So the Taste of Chicago, last year, Dolores, they did the Taste of Chicago after Labor Day. They do it in the fall. You're right, they used to do Taste Chicago 4th of July. But NASCAR, since they've been doing NASCAR, they had to move it to the fall. So that's where we saw Big Glacier Keys and we saw Nia. Maybe we'll see them there again. And fellow Chicago live streamers, can't believe that was last September. Time flies. Time flies when you're having fun. There's the Buckingham Fountain here, Chicago, Illinois, Married with Children Fountain. Yeah, work the plan. Yeah, nice skyline. Wait till you see it with the Buckingham Fountain there. I gotta stream the fountain as much as I can before they shut it down for NASCAR, because during NASCAR you have to have a ticket to see it. This is part of the restricted area. Hey, love and marriage go together like a horse and carriage. Yeah, thanks, Will. Thanks for the compliment there. Yeah, 50 East Monroe. Chicago Fest. Yeah, they started, didn't they start Chicago Fest at Navy Pier? I have friends that remember, like, in the late 70s, early 80s, like Cheap Trick played there, like when Cheap Trick was huge in like late 70s, early 80s from Rockford. And see, they got a little fountain here. Hey, look at that skyline. See, the further away you get, the better it gets. So, food vendors are open. Buckingham Fountain. Okay, it's pretty hot. Now it feels like 85. Once you get on this Unilock paver, reflects a lot of heat. But here's the Pie Life. They got a little concession area here. You can sit outside by the fountain here. This is Grant Park, Chicago, Illinois. We're by the Buckingham Fountain here. You go to the Pie Life here. Yeah, so you can get your pizza slice here. They got drinks and they got all kinds of stuff here. Sit over here. So hey, they're setting up more tents. There's some of the main grandstands, so we'll check that out here for the NASCAR. But here's the Buckingham Fountain, Chicago, Illinois, Married with Children Fountain. We were here when they turned it on. They light it up at night. Lowe's Hotel. Oh, I bet that was a nice view from the Lowe's Hotel. Yeah, right there by the river. You can look out towards the lake there. Yeah, what a beautiful city. Thanks for tuning in there. What did Chris say there? Farmhouse in Elburn. Hey, that's great, Chris. We'll look for it in the reruns there. Chris discovers many good things on his travels for work there. Thanks for tuning in, Chris. Here is the Buckingham Fountain. Yeah. More 2 for life. More 2 Life 24. But here you can see Lake Michigan off in the distance. So this will probably be the merch, all the merchandise. They had like t-shirts for all the NASCAR celebrities. Here's the merchandise tent. I remember we checked out the merchandise tent. That's the same place they have it for Lollapalooza too. They always put the merch tent right here, because this becomes like the central square for the whole NASCAR. And because it's actually inside the track. There's the skyline. There's your Buckingham Fountain there. Christopher, you know where we're at here, the Buckingham Fountain there, Lambie P. Joe Ellen. How hot is it in New York? I know it was 100 degrees, right, Christopher? How about that primary there? Cuomo lost. You know, that's the Democratic Socialists are taking over here. This is great. Let's see here. Yeah, Zohran Mamdani, M-A-M-D-A-N-I. Keep track of that name there. You might be mayor of New York one day. We'll see. And look at that. There's the Buckingham Fountain. Yeah. No, I'm not from Chicago. I grew up in Southeast Indiana. I've lived here for 26 years. I moved to Chicago in 1999. And I know that's a very important to native Chicagoans. I get that question daily. Almost every time I stream, people ask if I'm a native Chicagoan. But I'm a Native American. I'm a native to America. And I'm also have distant indigenous ancestry, but I'm a white guy. So it doesn't mean anything. I don't have a CDIB card. I didn't grow up on indigenous nation, or what Americans used to call reservation. I grew up highly assimilated as a white guy. But what am I going to do? Deny my ancestry? I have Melungeon ancestry too, which includes black people, but I'm not black. I'm a white guy. I'm like the Pope. The Pope has black ancestry too, but it's Creole. My Creole includes Native American and African American, but it's from the 1700s and the 1600s and the 1500s. It goes back to the Spanish colonial, which so does the Pope. The French and Spanish colonial Creole cultures mixed here in America. There was a lot of mixing going on in the colonial period that people didn't realize was going on, and it shows up in your DNA. Here's the Buckingham Fountain here. Thanks for tuning in. Here's the beautiful skyline of Chicago, the Buckingham Fountain. And this is named the Buckingham Fountain because there was a wealthy family in Chicago that was their last name, Buckingham. The patriarch, he made a fortune off of the grain mills, the grain elevators that, you know, all the wheat and corn would come into Chicago on the railroads, and they would ship it out on the boats across the Great Lakes or the Erie Canal. And so there was a brother and sister. It's named after the brother. The sister was the philanthropist. Her last name's Buckingham. But Queen Elizabeth did visit this in 1959. The Queen Mary sailed to Chicago once they opened the St. Lawrence Seaway, and it was a big deal. Then to sail the Queen Mary up to Chicago, because, you know, they got the locks to go around the Niagara Falls, which opened up the Great Lakes to ocean-going vessels, so they didn't have to go through the Erie Canal, which is much narrower. Here, let's check out the grandstand construction here. I don't know how close I'll be able to get to it. I have to walk the fine line when I'm filming the construction workers. They think I'm an undercover agent for OSHA, and they'll chase me out of here when they see the camera. But thanks for tuning in here. So I'm going to cover the NASCAR. It's July 5th and 6th. I got a ticket, just standing room only, and we're just checking out the construction progress here. Chicago. Yeah, I ham it up for the cameras. I say it like the stereotypical way, which is not true. There's many different Chicago accents. Hey, National Dyslexia Association. There you go, DNA. There's many different acronyms. Yeah, I got dyslexia too, probably. I don't mean to diminish it. I know it's a real issue that people face. My grandfather was dyslexic. Here's the grandstands. They're setting up the grandstands for the NASCAR here. This is Columbus Drive. So Columbus Drive is part of the race course. They use this for the NASCAR. They have pit row is over here. Look at all the amazing. Look at that. So here they're setting up the grandstands. I won't stay here too long because, again, they'll run me off. There's other people that have been streaming this. Here's the main grandstands. And here it is, the Clarence Buckingham Memorial Fountain. That's the official name. Here, I'm already beyond the sign here, so I shouldn't even be here. Sidewalk closed. But here, we'll head back. See the NASCAR grandstand taking shape here. Can't wait till the haulers come in there. The people, these big rigs, they all line them up around here and unload the NASCAR cars. Yeah, more doors. How you do? More doors madness. Will Robinson. Lived in Chicago for 10 years. You're from the deep south. That's good. See? You're free to move about the country. Not everybody that lives in Chicago. That's what native Chicagoans lament. There's so many people have moved away from Chicago that there's people all through the times they're like, I'm a native Chicagoan, but they no longer live here, but they miss the city. And there's several reasons why they might have left. You know, work, employment, better weather, less crime. We understand that, you know. Didn't like the politics. But other people like me moved to the city because I can deal with that. Here's the Buckingham Fountain. Skyline of Chicago. We'll walk right over to the lakefront here. So we got 12:33, so I got to turn around and start heading back to work. We'll head up the lakefront here. Thanks for tuning in. We're just checking out the NASCAR construction progress. Hey, love and marriage. Yeah, thanks for subscribing there, More Doors. Appreciate it. Thanks everybody for it. You can subscribe for free. Subscribing costs money on TikTok, but subscribing's free on YouTube. It's just they use a different terminology. TikTok says follow, and then you can. There are people that support me, which I appreciate. You can. What is that called? You can pay the monthly $2.99 or $5.99, whatever it is. And I don't expect anybody to do that, but if you can, it's like supporting PBS, supporting quality content here, just showing my. Usually we stream on TikTok in the morning and evening. My commute to and from work. I walk to and from work. I live in Lincoln Park. I work downtown here over Michigan Avenue, so usually at lunchtime we try to take my lunch break and on YouTube walk around here because I'm already down here. There's always something going on in the loop, different times of the year, different weather. Hey, here comes a boat. Is that a water taxi? There's a boat heading. Here's Lake Michigan. So hopefully the person that requested, I don't usually take requests. That's not why I'm doing this. I'm doing this because I want to walk over here anyway. We'll try to cross DuSable Lakeshore Drive. Then we can check out the sailboats in Monroe Harbor. And yeah, it's much cooler by the lake. So this was probably good advice here to walk by the lake. So we'll leave the Buckingham Fountain here, the Sears Tower. We'll still be able to see it from the park here. We'll see if they close the street or the stoplight works and we can cross here. Ernie's tuning in there. Yeah, that's thanks, Dolores. Say, Ernie, you might have missed it before. So my cousins, it looks like they're going to get to Chicago tomorrow. They're not going to stay the night. So I don't know if I'm doing the Navy Pier fireworks tonight. If you want to cover it, that's great. If you're not, that's fine. I'm just letting you know it's probably unlikely I'll just want to head home tonight. But there are fireworks at Navy Pier tonight. I think they start at 9, but sometimes they don't start till 9:30. This is the only place I know they got this push button thing. I better push it or I'll never be able to cross the street here. I should have pushed it already. We'll see if we get the light here to cross. Hey, we got the light there. That was pretty quick. I pushed it, and there it went. So here, we'll head over to the lakefront here, Lake Michigan. See, they're riding the bikes there. And look at these recumbent bikes. My dad has recumbent bikes like that. They help your back. I've tried to ride the recumbent bikes. They're kind of freaky. You got the small wheel. You feel like you got less control. But once you get used to them, they're better for long-term rides here. But here's the lakefront bike path here. You got to run across there. But hey, let's head over to Lake Michigan. We'll check out the boats here in Monroe Harbor. Yeah, there's a cool breeze coming off the lake. The magic touch, yeah. Good, Ernie. So Ernie's going to cover the fireworks. So yeah, if you want to watch Navy Pier fireworks, check out Ernie's page, Chicago Nuggies. And he does such a great job covering the fireworks. He did it Saturday, and you were going to probably do it anyway. So I might tune in to Ernie's stream tonight when I'm laying on the couch there. You've been doing a lot of live streaming. That's great. Thanks for tuning in, Ernie. And check out Chicago Nuggies. Of course, Christopher Dotson was tuning in there from New York City. There, it's really hot in New York City. They got the heat that we had earlier, and you would probably love to have this 80 degrees with the cool lake breeze. Feels pretty good here. BIP boating. I don't know what that is. You get your balloon bears. But yeah, they got this little concrete walkway here. There's a crane there at the Shed Aquarium. They're doing construction at the Shed Aquarium. Yeah, the Blue Dog. So there's a water taxi stop right here. You can catch the water taxi and get off here and go to the Buckingham Fountain. And then it makes another stop at the museum campus. They come right in here. So you can catch the water taxis at Navy Pier, and they'll take you down to the museum campus. We should do that sometime. I'll try to do a live stream from one of those boats. That would be nice. Drinking some hot cocoa. There you go. You're drinking hot cocoa. That's great. Yeah. So here, look. Let's just zoom into these boats here. So Monroe Harbor, they're all on buoys. They got a tender service. So to get to your boat, you have to take another little water taxi boat, and you catch it at we'll go by the boathouse up here. But I've known engineers I've worked with, they got boats here, and been on their boats. It's great sailboats. And they much prefer, I just step on some geese poo. That's the problem walking over here. There's so much geese poo that it's hard for me to look at the screen and not step in geese poop. But, yeah, Ernie's part of the team here. Here's, look at the geese here. Oh, to be a goose here, just hanging out by the lake. Albert Anderson, how you doing there? But my name isn't Michael. I know, we got all the Michaels. We got D. Michael, Michael Anderson, Michael Rodriguez, and then we got Ernie. We got any Miguels? Hey, they're flying the pirate flag. There's your pirate ship right there. Hey, somebody lost a shirt. You lose a shirt. Find all kinds of things wash up on the shore. But hey, Lake Michigan, Chicago, Illinois, that's the St. Regis. Look at that, 1,100 feet tall. Jeannie Gang, there's the Aeon, equally as tall. There's Navy Pier behind all these boats. Yeah, let's see if we can see Navy. Okay, so that's that big giant boat in front of the Ferris wheel. That's the Columbia Yacht Club, and you could join that and go out on that boat there. They got a restaurant and stuff. And then behind it's Navy Pier. There's the Sable Hotel right there. This is Monroe Harbor. That's the tip of Navy Pier. Ernie walked out there. That's where the Bob Newhart statue is. Yeah, thanks for supporting Ernie there, Chicago Nuggies. We got such a great community of Chicago live streamers. Nick Koiken's back streaming. Nia, Big Glacier Keys there, Keys Impact. Of course, J City Walking Girl streaming, Steve Lyon. We got Edwin, we got Vicky. There's new people. There's new people that they've been streaming for a while, and I don't even know who they are. Steve Lyon, We got this other guy. What's his name? I can't keep track of. You got to be careful. See, you could trip over this thing. It's so they can tie up the boats. There's the geese. We'll see if they take a plunge here. Oh, Eat It? Yeah, that's Weird Al Yankovic. That's a cover of a Michael Jackson song, Beat It. You remember that? Who remembers Weird Al Yankovic? That might be before your time. There was, before the internet, and before, oh, you doing your geese? And before, crank anchors and stuff, there was Weird Al Yankovic, who was he would do song parodies. And he did song parodies of Michael Jackson songs, all the songs in the 80s. And made a lot of money doing it too. Weird Al Yankovic. It is the Michael Jackson song. Weird Al Yankovic did a parody of it where he changed the words to Eat It, E-A-T. And yeah, I know Ernie was pointing out there's some cringe-worthy stuff in the song, like he would, make a parody, he would change the lyrics of the Michael Jackson song. And he said, take an egg and beat it. You know, you can read all kinds of into windows into that. But yeah, that's what we're talking about. Yeah, he had the accordion. He was known for using the accordion. Even before They Might Be Giants would use the accordion, the alternative band there. But so this is the Monroe. This is where you catch the tender boat to take you out to all these sailboats. And there's some people partying on the boat already there. Look at that. They'll head out to the playpen. Yeah, there's a lot more live streamers in Chicago. That's great. See what we started here? I missed all the names there. Like Jennifer You Should Eat. There's all kinds of Jeremy live streams. He usually does like battles and stuff. Jeremy the pilot. But I thought it would work for the farmer's market. I timed it to the farmer's market there. Albuquerque song, yeah. Yeah, check out Weird Al Yankovic's Albuquerque song there. Yeah, very catchy. It gets stuck in your head. We're here in Monroe Harbor here, the cool lake breezes here. We'll head back to Lakeshore East here somehow. What time we got? 12:43. Hey, we got 123 people in the chat. Thanks for tuning in. Welcome to Chicago. I could have fell in the lake right there. Look at that. See, there's the tender service. There's the tender boat. So the most important thing to have on sailboats besides a floating boat is you have ice. So if anybody invites you out to their sailboat, buy some ice at the little club there. There's the tender service. So watch, it'll take off just like a water taxi. And you tell people all these have like E12, row E, boat 12. You'll give a little. You tell the guy driving the boat, he'll drop you right off at your sailboat. There's the tender service heading out into Monroe Harbor, Chicago, Illinois. And everybody's usually in a good mood when they're on those boats because they're heading out to sail or something. There's Skyline of Chicago. We're near, yeah, this is called Monroe Yacht Club here, Monroe Harbor, Lake Michigan, Chicago, Illinois. We got 12:44 in the PM. We got about 80 degrees. It's pretty pleasant here. Another one rides the bus, and another one's gone. Another one rides the bus. Weird Al. Yeah, he made fun. He didn't make fun. He was just doing parodies of all. Here, public restrooms, men's and women's here at the yacht club. You can rent the bikes here. So, since I'm short on time, oh sorry, I'll cut across here, and we'll try to cross here at Sable Lakeshore Drive, and we'll head up through the Cancer Survivors Park on the edge of Maggie, Daley, and we'll head back to Lakeshore East. Here you can rent the divvy bikes. You turn around here. I don't know. There's not really much parking at Monroe Yacht Club here. And you got some smoothies, got some concessions. There's a skyline here. We'll head across here once the traffic stops. Lakefront Trail. Kevin tuning in. Yeah, another one rides the bus. Thanks, Kevin. Yeah, you're the one that said that. That's great. You know Weird Al Yankovic. Yeah, we did the Eat It song instead of Beat It by Michael Jackson. Timed it to the farmer's market here. They had to change all these signs. John Baptiste Point to Sable Lakeshore Drive. That's a tongue twister, isn't it? That's awesome there. Look at that. There, got 15 seconds. Yeah, it's a great place to ride the e-bike. We got this whole lakefront bike trail. You could jog, ride a bike here. Yeah, that's a nice e-bike going through there. Cruising along here. It goes all the way up North Shore, all the way down to South Shore. You go down to the Museum of Science and Industry. You can ride a bike all the way down there. I've done it before. It takes a while. It's like 7 miles down there. But it's possible. Here we're crossing here at Lakeshore Drive. You can look back to the Field Museum. See how it lines up with Lakeshore Drive. Here's the curve. Hey, Glacier Express. Catch the bus. Sable Lakeshore Drive. George Hollis Drive. George Hollis Drive. Of course, Soldier Field, the Bears. his daughter, Mrs. McCaskey, just passed away. That was her father, George Hallis, the founder and owner of the Bears. Here, we want to head up this way, sorry. We'll head up this way. There's another road in America. There's many roads in America called Lakeshore Drive. So we're the only one that has Jean Baptiste Point du Sable. That's good. Yeah, there's many Lakeshore Drives. You're right. There's many lakes, many Lakeshore Drives, but they're not all the same. And they got a bunch of leaves on their tree, on their car there. There's the traffic. We'll get back to the park here in just a second. So instead of heading to Lakeshore East, what I'm going to do is I'm going to walk straight across Maggie Daley Park back to the BP Bridge, and we'll end up back at the Pritzker Pavilion where we were at earlier. I just want to see if the symphony is still practicing for the Grant Park Music Series. That might be a good way to head back to Michigan Avenue. I don't have enough time. I was going to go up into Lakeshore East, but since the symphony's playing, we'll double back, and we got 12 minutes to get over to the Bean. We'll see if we can make it. Thanks for tuning in here. Yeah, we walked. If you missed it, we walked by Lakeshore or Lake Michigan. We went to the Buckingham Fountain. We checked out the NASCAR grandstand construction progress, and we'll probably maybe do it again later in the week or next week. Yeah, we walked through this this playground here. We'll head around this side, the upside down trees. Hey, let's get in the shade. This feels nice. So it's 80 degrees. It was much hotter on Monday. Monday it was 96 degrees with over 100 degree index. That's the weather the East Coast is getting now. Thankfully, we're much cooler today. It's about 81 degrees, but it still feels warmer than that with the humidity. It probably feels like 90 degrees in the sun, and it feels like summertime, which is nice, but it's not oppressively hot. And there was a cool breeze there by the lake. So we get the extremes. We get the extreme cold in the winter. We get the extreme hot. We get no respect. There's the Aon. There's the Blue Cross Blue Shield building. Yeah, we'll head right across to the BP Bridge there. He pray after you eat McDonald's. Yeah, McDonald's is not the healthiest option. Yeah, the poor guy that did Super Size Me, he made a movie about eating McDonald's every day. He died, and it wasn't, maybe that contributed to it. I don't know, but it was a movie. It was called Super Size Me. He did a movie called Super Size Me where he only ate McDonald's for a month and showed how his health went down. And he actually did statistics, they monitored. They gave him a physical before and after, and they were like, "You got to stop eating McDonald's." How's that for an advertisement for a restaurant? Yeah, Trump's at the G8 summit, or the the NATO. He's at the NATO. He's at the NATO summit there. Yeah, let's see how that goes. So here, let's see if I can get over this fence here. There's a little fence here. Yeah, I can easily get across this. So hey, let's go across the BP Bridge here, and we'll head back to the Pritzker Pavilion there. You're in advertising. Yeah, that's you know what I'm talking about. Ernie, yeah, you saw that movie. Yeah, Super Size Me. So hey, look at the skyline view. It's pretty hot on this bridge. It's 90 degrees on this bridge because it reflects the sun. We're getting it feels like I'm next to a mirror here. Very hot. But it helps out in the wintertime. It's warmer on sunny days in the wintertime to walk across this. It's like a greenhouse effect. And I feel like they got to get really heat tolerant plants down there to get reflected all that heat. I bet it's 120 degrees down there. But here, look at the skyline view. Chicago, Illinois there. There's the Pittsfield building. That guy was on WGN. That's what somebody told me there. You're just here? Yeah, great city there. Pamela, Michael. Hey, how you doing there? Yeah. KFC for $7. What a deal. Yeah, the Colonel. Kentucky Colonel. Hey, it sounds like the symphony's still playing. Do you hear the symphony? Yeah, I'll just let you listen to the symphony here. So, Chicago, Illinois, we're going to head by the Pritzker Pavilion. The symphony's practicing for their summer series. And we'll see what it sounds like when we head by there. Yeah, doing good, Adis. How you doing there? So this is Chicago, Illinois. If you're just tuning in, Chicago, Illinois. We're heading across the BP Bridge here, across Columbus Drive here in Grant Park. We're going to head to Millennium Park. We'll go by the Bean again. We went by it earlier. We went over to Buckingham Fountain in Lake Michigan. Now I got to head back to work. I'm on my lunch break. It's 12:53. And we're heading across Columbus Drive here. You see the Aon building, the Blue Cross Blue Shield, the Prudential. And yeah, look at that. Now you're really not supposed to ride bikes across here, but it doesn't bother me because I break the rules all the time too. But we'll see if the security sees them, they'll tell them to get off of that bike. But and so this is where the NASCAR race is gonna go down Columbus there. That's why they're setting up the grandstands. Yeah, here's the symphony. So here we'll see if the symphony starts practicing again when we get over there. We'll head around.
No, Mexico. They actually, when they're on the way there, they have a...
Hey, you hear the symphony? They're practicing. So that the conductor, there they go. We're gonna head down there. So we got 12:54. I'm not gonna make it back to work by 1 o'clock, but that's okay. So if you just joined me in Chicago, I'm just saying that because I can't believe that security guard didn't tell that person to get off that bike, which is fine with me. Like I said, I don't care. But I've been asked not to live stream, and I've seen them ask people to not get off their bike, but they didn't ask them to get off the bike. It's funny. So I'm trying to get off of this pedestrian bridge and head over to the symphony there. Yeah, we'll see if they take requests. Maybe they can play Kashmir, the full symphony orchestra for Led Zeppelin. So we just tuned in. We're in Chicago here. We're in Millennium Park. This is the Pritzker Band Shell. They're practicing for the Grant Park Musical Festival right here. Chicago, Illinois there. Next concert, Wednesday at 6:30, which is today. Today at 6:30. This is a rehearsal. They're going to play tonight. restrooms down here, restrooms. Yeah, 6:30 tonight. Yeah! See, they're clapping for him, even for practice here. Welcome to Chicago. This is the Pritzker Pavilion here, part of Millennium Park here. This is the Bean, Cloud Gate. We just walked back from Buckingham Fountain along the lake here, and I'm heading back to work, so I won't be streaming too much longer. But if you enjoy this live stream, you want to watch it from the beginning, you can rewind it or go to my live tab there on the YouTube webpage there, Brian Really Chicago, and watch the full live stream from the beginning to the end there. You can watch reruns from past episodes, past days where we go different areas, mostly downtown, because mostly on YouTube I film my lunch break. So I'm down here because I have a day job, work for an architecture engineering firm. Here's Cloud Gate, the Bean, Great Bean of Chicago. We got about 80 degrees here. It's a pretty pleasant day. It's much cooler than it was earlier this week. We had some rain, but now it's beautiful. Blue skies. Thanks for tuning in on this walk here. Hey, everybody's checking out the Bean there. So I'm gonna head back to work, get me some lunch, and we'll be streaming tonight after 5. I'll probably just head home. Looks like my relatives are not coming to Chicago until tomorrow, so Ernie's gonna be filming Navy Pier fireworks on TikTok tonight. Check out Ernie Chicago Nuggies there. I think most of you already follow him, and if not, please follow Ernie and the other Chicago live streamers, because I can't be everything everywhere at once. I'm glad we all share the wealth there, and no pressure to Ernie. Ernie was planning on filming him anyway, I think. There's the train, elevated train going through the loop at Chicago there. Just looking down Washington Street there. Look at that nice vista we get into the city. And that's what we do. We show scenes of the city. The city's alive, made up of people, both tourists and residents that share this park. Sounds like we got a live blues band on Michigan Avenue. You come to Chicago in the summertime, you always see a live blues band. Funk, soul, we got everything. Jazz, rock and roll. Thanks for tuning in here. Yeah. Thanks, Sharon. You enjoy your day too there. Blessings everybody there. You streamed last night in the rain? Yeah, see, rain or shine. That's the real deal there. Check out Ernie Chicago Nuggies there. That's great. So, Christopher Dotson in New York City. We got, everywhere you go, we got live streamers showing all these beautiful places throughout the world. There's the Bean. Yeah, we know these guys. We filmed them before. Yeah. Wow. Yeah, let's head over here. I got it. Zach Brown Band's going to be at NASCAR, so we might see them because we filmed some of the live performances that happened before and after the NASCAR race there. Hey, that was a great blues band there. I filmed them before. I've tipped them before. I wish I had more time. I have to get back to work. I would have stayed and watched some of their set, but I got a day job, so we got to pay the bills. Thanks for tuning in. Look, people riding right down Michigan Avenue. Yeah, beautiful day in America. How's everybody doing there? Sounds good. Oh yeah, I love it. Isn't that nice? Nice music, yeah. City's alive, yeah. It's summertime, isn't it? All winter long, I'm like, people are like, everybody moved out of Chicago. There's nobody here. And then you look, go summertime, and look at us now. Summer's starting to heat up. So here we'll get across Randolph here. We'll have the nice view looking up to the Wrigley building here. Randolph, the cultural center here. See, sometimes people get stuck here. They get stuck out in the intersection. There's the Nederlander Theater looking down Randolph. And
Thank you so much, Gary.
Good to see you.
there's the Smurfit Stone Building, 150, Michigan. Yeah, let's head up this way. Yeah, nice city. Thanks, Edis. Thanks, David Johnson, Emmanuel. So I moved to Chicago in 1999. I've lived here for 26 years, over half my life. But I grew up in southeast Indiana, out in the country. So I'm a country boy from Indiana, only one state away from Illinois. And once I went to college in Cincinnati, Ohio. I moved to Chicago. So a lot of Chicagoans don't like people like me. They really despise people that after college they come to Chicago and think they're hot stuff because they moved to Chicago, native Chicagoans, especially people from the south and west sides. They're like, you horrible people, because we all live on the north side and hang out on Rush Street and ruin the city. So that's me. But hey, I love this city. You know, I plan on staying here through thick or thin. I've been through good times and bad times. There's many negatives to this city, positive, negatives, everything. But, you know, I like big cities. I like New York. I like LA. I like Chicago. And San Francisco. I even like Austin, Texas. I like Houston, Texas, because I went down to Houston. Big city in a different way. Just sprawls out in all directions. But I like New Orleans. I like Boston. There's so many cities I like. But not just American cities. I like international cities. Tokyo, Paris, London, Hong Kong.
And now we're not shutting him down, right?
All over the place. So here's the loop of Chicago that way. And you see, we're looking up Michigan Avenue. This is Michigan and Lake Street. And we'll cross over here. Yeah, John Denver. We get that Rocky Mountain High. Here's Prudential. And we'll cross the street here. We'll get you one last view of the Wrigley building. Yeah, Rotterdam's nice. Oh, Seattle's great. Yeah, I love Seattle. I have visited Seattle. I want to go back. I know Major Hustler Tim, he live streams there on TikTok, and he's such a prolific live streamer. And there's other people. That's great there. Yeah, Amsterdam's great. I like to go there too. Rotterdam. Here's there's that view looking up to the Wrigley building, the John Hancock. We're crossing Michigan Avenue here, and people scooting along here. So hey, we'll see you on TikTok after 5 tonight. Ernie's gonna stream the fireworks, and we'll talk to you later here from Chicago. Have a great day, everybody. Really appreciate it. Yeah, see you later there. Sun's hot. Holland, thanks for tuning in. Adis, China, Prince, thanks for tuning in. That's awesome. Yeah, there's many beautiful Chinese cities as well. We'll talk to you later. No, this is Chicago. We'll talk to you.